I've always been comfortable with the very fact that I'm different. I'm different. I'm a different person. And it's in those days, let me tell you, it took a lot to be homosexual because you don't know what the cops are going to do. You don't know that people on the street will, beat you up or something like this. And I'm not exactly the most masculine person in the world.
Growing up, I knew that there was something different about me, but I really didn't know what it was. I was a late bloomer as far as being sexually active. In fact, I thought growing up that I was the only person who was like that.
I absolutely thought there was nobody else in the world like me. I thought I was the only gay person in the world. I was ready to live a life as the one person. I went to the dictionary and said, and I looked up homosexuality, and it said it's a phase that one passes through.
I called my mother and I said, can I come to dinner Tuesday night? Something I want to talk to you about. And she said, what? And I said, I'll tell you Tuesday. Oh my God, you have some girl in trouble? I said, no, Mom, no girls involved.
My mother sat me down one time and says, whatever you do while you're out there running around, don't you ever come home and tell me what you did. So that shut everything off. No communication, no nothing about my life. But there was never any question. I could have boyfriends and things like that, but it was never questioned, never talked about.
So my mother got the letter from Lucky that I was supposed to get, and she was crying and very upset and telling me I don't want my daughter to be a lesbian, and she didn't use that word, but so then my father got a hold of me and he started talking to me and he said, do you want to go see a therapist, a shrink, whatever you want? And I said, no, I am who I am and I'm fine, don't worry about it. And he said, well, you're my daughter, and no matter who you are or how you are, I'll always love you.
I wrote her a note saying that this is a subject we've never talked about, but I wanted you to know that I'm a lesbian, and Barbara and I have a very good relationship, and we wanted you to be aware of this. And she called back shortly and just said, we love you. But I was glad I had done that. I didn't come out to my parents, my mother especially, because I thought she would blame herself.
She was very hostile to the idea of being gay.
That's not for me.
So,
absolutely not me.
And I didn't have that attitude because I'm gay, and I felt that's all. I have no choice, that I am gay. When I told her how I felt, and she told me she felt something too, but she was afraid of the idea of being gay. I tried to talk her into it, telling her about the ancient Greeks, but for whatever good that did.
And I couldn't even use the word gay because it sounded so frivolous. So I said, I'm homosexual. And my father said, what? And I repeated it, and he looked at my mother immediately and said, must be your side of the family. All the men on my side of the family were men. And my mother immediately snapped back and she said, oh, really? What about your cousin Sidney?
Well, to make a long story short, he had his way with me, and it was the first orgasm I had, and I fainted. The next thing I knew, I was coming to, and he was putting cold compresses on my face. But that was my coming out. I mean, I was coming out to myself, actually, because through all my life until I was 19, I never thought about saying to somebody I'm gay.
If she didn't know, she could deny it. But she knew she could have defended me. But back in those days, it was common knowledge that you could be arrested for being gay.
I was very secretive. I found out later I was living in a closet. It was in New York. At that time, it was illegal to be gay. It was considered a mental disease to be gay.
You had no civil rights. You had no real legal rights. Nothing was anything but that you were a criminal in those earlier days. So the police would come to people's homes. They'd send the state police and drag them out and take them off to jail and so on.
I remember specifically not wanting to be seen with anybody who was, I hate even to use that term anymore to put it in that sense, but who was a little bit more effeminate or, you know, I hate that term straight appearing, but that's what I was looking for. Somebody you couldn't tell. The fear was that somebody would know who I was. It didn't occur to me that if I'm out with 14 straight people, they'll think I'm straight, but if I'm with one gay person, they'll think I'm gay. Of course they would know.
I was like this. We couldn't do anything. You couldn't dance in a bar. You couldn't be in a bar. You couldn't touch anybody. God, you had to be closeted. I remember with the first woman I ever was with, I was 21 years old going to a grocery store. And a guy came up to me and he said, I know what you need, baby. I mean, like, just sickening.
I had to live two lives for so much of my life. I was Mr. Malone during the week, and I was Jimmy on the weekend. I can't come out and flaunt anything. My personality doesn't allow it because I'm so trained to be two people. I don't have to live two lives now, but I don't know how to live any other way. No.
It's almost impossible to describe what Stonewall meant, what happened. It was electrifying. It totally shattered everything around one. It was a new way of life. And I remember within the first week or so, the energizing of everything, the coming alive was amazing. And I felt myself, and I said, I'm free. I'm really free for the first time in my life.
I walked into another bar called My Way on Washington Boulevard in Culver City. I had been away from gay life for like 10 years. And who was in there but Alda? Snow white hair, gorgeous. We were together for 8 years. And I walked away for a year. And she came to me at the end of that year and she said, I'm dying, I have cancer. So I stayed with her for 3 months through her transition. She died in 91 from cancer. And yeah, I was a star. Irreplaceable.
I learned from John that there is so much in life, so much, he was so vibrant that it made my life vibrant. I could turn to him and say, I'm hurting. And he could give me the strength, the care, whatever you want to call it, but always somehow a sense of, yes, keep going on with life. And he was that kind of a person.
He understood my sense of humor, and I got his. And it could be one or two words, and we would crack up laughing. And I can't imagine a relationship without a lot of laughter. I mean, even in the middle of sex, we could stop and laugh and then go back to it. And, you know, that's great.
We both had goals that were similar. What I've seen people break up a lot is because one goes in one direction, the other goes in another direction, and that's how they get apart. But our goals were similar. We both wanted to travel the world. We didn't care to make a career or a profession, and we said, we're just going to see the world. I once remember when we first started to be together, I said, the only thing I want to see is that happiness, that you have happiness. That's all I care about. So, I don't know what else love is.